Let's take a deep dive into the film industry and find out if we're really facing a creativity crisis and if maybe it's our fault. The film industry is at a crossroads, and the question on everyone's mind is whether or not it's heading for a creative crisis. Now, this topic has been gaining a lot of traction lately, and for good reason. With the rise of franchise films and the increasing importance of box office success, many are wondering if originality and creativity are being pushed to the side. Kind of like that one giant Ouroboros snake constantly eating itself and just giving us the exact same thing with a slightly newer coat of paint. One of the biggest challenges the film and TV industry faces today is its reliance on franchises. It seems like every studio is scrambling to create the next Marvel or Star Wars. While these franchises do bring in the big bucks, they also leave little room for new and innovative storytelling. Many films are now being greenlit based on their potential to launch a franchise rather than on their artistic merit or originality, or even if it's a good story or not. This has led to a lack of diversity in films being made and the homogenization of storytelling as a whole. I mean, one fantastic, or not so fantastic, I should say, example of this movie is Rebel Moon. Now, on paper, this film would have killed it with audiences and made the studio a fair bit of money in the process. A stacked cast with Zack Snyder at the helm, fresh off his DC run. Well, I mean, his DC run was pretty controversial, but anyway, fresh off his DC run, I mean, come on. It was bound to make the studio money. It has space cowboys, robot companions, and... Wait a minute. Haven't I seen this all before? Isn't this just Star Wars? Look, you see where I'm getting at here? Rebel Moon tried to be the next big thing, stealing things that they know have worked well in the past and just sort of mishmashing them together, but this does not work in reality. It just ended up being a movie with no identity, and a very mid one at that. And I wish I could say that this trend ended with Rebel Moon, but no, it gets worse. The emphasis on franchise filmmaking has also led to the death of original stories being told. Many scripts are being written with the sole purpose of launching a franchise rather than a standalone film, and everyone is looking to write the next Twilight instead of, a good original film, and this can result in stories that are formulaic and predictable with characters that are more like archetypes than fully fleshed out people. This reliance on familiar tropes and characters makes films feel stale and unoriginal, quite frankly, and boring. Now, hang on with me as I quickly touch on some screenwriting basics here, getting a bit technical. As some of you may know, a lot of film and TV follows the same formula. Now, it's known by a lot of names, but this formula became popularly known as the Save the Cat formula, as coined in the 2005 book of the same name by author Blake Snyder. This has basically become the mold for any good story told on the screen. But, and there's a big but, even though storytelling itself, or script writing I should say, can be formulaic by design at times, it still leaves room for creativity in other ways. After all, creativity thrives under limitation. What we're seeing from Hollywood is a deliberate choice to stifle creativity in order to make films a more safe investment, and that's all it is to these executive producers looking to make films, just an investment to make money off of, which brings me to my next point. The pressure to succeed at the box office. Absolute creativity killer. When studios are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into a film, they want to make damn sure that it's going to be a hit. This has essentially led to a focus on the tried and true formulas rather than taking risks on new and innovative storytelling. I mean, it could be tough for filmmakers to get the freedom to make the kind of film they really want to make rather than the kind of film that will appeal to the widest audience, or in other words, make the studios more money. And here's the kind of sad part about it all. It's kind of our fault. With less and less people going to the theater, studios are forced to err on the side of caution even more. I mean, think about the last time you went to the theater. An entire industry cannot sustain itself from the average Joe going to the movies 2-3 times a year. I mean, for a lot of people, they haven't been to the theater since Avengers Endgame. But all hope is not lost. Despite these challenges, there are still many examples of successful original films out there. Films like Parasite, Shape of Water, and a litany of A24 films, just to name a few, have shown that originality and creativity can still pay off at the box office. These films prove that audiences are willing to take a chance on something new and, well, different if it's done well. Speaking of doing well, the algorithm tells me that I'm doing well, so please subscribe if you haven't already to, keep the hype going. Shitty segue, I know, but much appreciated anyways. Now, where were we? Now, we've mostly been talking about box office numbers and how much money movies make at the theater, but there's also one key factor that's determining whether or not we are actually going through a creativity crisis in the film and TV industry, and that is the rise of streaming services. Streaming services have changed the game when it comes to creative content, with platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and the hundreds of others out there. So many. So many. With all these streaming services, there's more opportunity than ever for filmmakers to get their unique visions out to audiences. These services have a hunger for content, and they're willing to take risks on films that might not have even been made otherwise. I mean, here's a recent example. Take a look at K-pop Demon Hunters and the success that that's garnered. By the way, S-tier movie, absolute S-tier movie, S-tier soundtrack. Changed my mind. Now, K-pop Demon Hunters is a movie that traditional Hollywood would have never made, not in a million years. And these streaming services have opened up a whole new world of possibility for filmmakers who want to push the boundaries of storytelling, who want to create movies that might not necessarily fit into the status quo of mainstream Hollywood filmmaking. Streaming services have also given audiences more options than ever before. With the ability to binge watch entire seasons of TV shows or discover new films on a whim, audiences are more empowered than ever to seek out the content they want to watch, which is in direct competition with the old guard of Hollywood. This shift in audience behavior puts pressure on traditional studios to adapt and evolve, which is also kind of a part of the problem because that's only adding more fuel to the fire of this machine barreling toward creative bankruptcy, right? Because now they're making less and less money, and people are getting a similar fix from Netflix or Amazon Prime. The impact of streaming services in the film industry cannot be understated. Love them or hate them, they're here to stay, and they are the future. In a way, they've democratized the filmmaking process, allowing more voices to be heard and more stories to be told. Unlike the democracy in America. I digress. However, they also present a challenge to traditional studios, which must now compete with these new players for audience attention. Now, as we look to the future, it's clear that audience preferences are going to play a huge role in shaping the industry. Streaming services on the rise, audiences have more power than ever. This means filmmakers need to be more attuned to what audiences want and more willing to take on the risks to give it to them. All I'm saying is the future of the film and TV industry is about finding a balance between creativity and commercial viability, as it kind of always has been, but now more so than ever. By embracing new technologies, new voices, new storytelling methods, the film industry may yet remain vibrant and innovative for years to come. At least that's the optimistic outlook. The pessimistic outlook is that 90% of the movies and the content we consume is going to be created by AI, so we're going to have Fast and Furious 17 narrated by a 27-year-old Harrison Ford computer version of him. I don't know. Shit's weird, man. Anyway. In today's film industry, creativity is more important than ever. With challenges posed by franchise filmmaking and the opportunities presented by streaming services, filmmakers must be willing to take risks and push the boundaries of storytelling. I mean, there's only so much AI drivel that we could consume as an audience before we say, hey, how about we watch a real movie written by real people and real actors, you know? Look, to sum it all up, the film industry is kind of at a critical juncture, and it's probably been at the most volatile that it's ever been in its entire existence. And it's clear that creativity is the key to survival. So, by embracing originality, taking risks, listening to audiences' preferences, the industry may yet avoid a complete creative catastrophe and continue to thrive. But hey, that's just what I think. What do you think? Are we facing a creativity crisis in the film industry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in more videos, please be sure to check out my channel and subscribe for more content. I've been Jamie, and I'll see you in the next one.